How's everyone doing today? It's your boy JG Domination, and today we're here with a 2020 NFL offseason preview. This time we'll be talking about the Dallas Cowboys. They'll be picking number 17th overall in the draft, and we'll touch more on what they'll do this offseason. I do want to apologize to all my Falcons friends out there. Man, I recorded that video twice for you guys, and literally after I recorded the video, something happened each time. The first time I recorded it, it was reported that the $2 million club option on Matt Schaub was going to be accepted. And then the second time I recorded it, and I was just fixing to upload it, it's rumored, or like a statement comes out, that Austin Hooper and Devondre Campbell are not going to be brought back. And one of my free agents I was going to bring back was the Devondre Campbell. And so I was just like, screw it, man. They don't have any money. There's nothing they could really do unless they just decide to do trades. But I only did one trade this entire series, and I kind of don't want to do any more trades because the trade I did is like a 2% chance of happening. Like, I don't even want to do any more trades in the series. So what we're going to do, man, we're going to keep it moving. I'm sorry, Falcons fans. Y'all going to have to build through the draft this year, okay? But with the Cowboys, they might have to do the same thing because they got some key free agents, but they do have a lot of money to play around with. But, once those free agents get signed, it's going to be tough. But the current, the total cap space right now, again, via Spotrac, one of the sites that I use, $74 million for the Dallas Cowboys. That is a great number to have if you're Dallas, but again, we got a ton of key free agents, but $74 million, absolutely, that's where you want to be right now. If you're a team like Dallas, let's again, though, the free agents, let's talk about them. Notable free agents include quarterback Dak Prescott, wide receiver Amari Cooper, wide receiver Randall Cobb, defensive end Robert Quinn, linebacker Sean Lee, and cornerback Byron Jones. There's more like depth quality guys in there, but for the sake of this video, we'll only do 6. It's rumored that this team is going to bring back Sean Lee. Jason Witten's also a free agent. I thought, honestly, he was just going to retire, but it sounds like they're going to want to bring back Sean Lee for like a 1-year deal. Good for them, I guess. He's a good veteran to have. I think they will bring back Dak Prescott. I don't know how they plan to do it in terms of, will it be a franchise tag, a short-term, long-term contract? I don't know, like, how it's going to get done, how it's going to be structured, but I do have a feeling it's going to get done. I think they'll swallow the cap pill, and just re-sign Amari Cooper. As for everyone else, man, GG. I don't see them bringing the other guys back unless they just want to take significantly less money. But looking at potential roster cuts, we have one, and that's going to be offensive tackle Cam Fleming. He was like a swing tackle that this team signed, I think last year or 2 years ago. He has a club option. If you release him, you save roughly $4.4 million. I would say for a team like the Cowboys, that is, that's going to come in handy. That's an extra 4.4 you could use to help structure Dak's contract and Amari's contract, and hell, that 4.4 might be enough to help you re-sign Byron Jones if you decide to do that. So the new cap total after cutting Cam Fleming, and the reason he was the only guy I cut was because he was the only non-significant player that you could cut and save money for. So the new cap total now is $78.4 million. Again, that's a lot, but key free agents, man, it's going to be tough to manage all of that. But now let's look at some potential free agent targets. So we're going to stay in house with the first 3, and it's going to be Dak Prescott at quarterback, wide receiver Amari Cooper, and defensive end Robert Quinn. I do think Robert Quinn is an important one, that you're going to have to keep, because he's a good, he's still a good pass rusher. He's a veteran player. He'll probably demand a little bit more than you'd expect because he did have a pretty solid year for Dallas last year. And again, he's still a hell of a player. So I don't think he'll be coming back cheap. Prescott and Cooper, I imagine one of those guys gets tagged, the other ends up signing an extension. My guess is Prescott gets tagged and Cooper signs the extension. Or the new contract, I guess you should say. And the next potential free agent target is going to be tight end Darren Fells. like I said, it's rumored that Jason Witten's probably not coming back. I didn't even have him for notable free agents. I don't think he should come back. Personally, I think he should just retire. I mean, I hate to say it like that because, like, then people are like, oh, so you're saying he's washed. Yeah, he was washed before he came back, and he's definitely washed now. But, hey, if he thinks he can play, sweet. Go somewhere else and, try to win a championship, I suppose. But Darren Fells, yeah, he's an older guy as well, but he's coming off one of his, better seasons. He had a pretty good year with the Houston Texans, had a lot of red zone touchdowns, and was just a solid run blocker as well, mainly used in the red zone, like I said. And for Dak Prescott, that's going to be key. I don't think he's going to cost a whole lot because with guys like Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry and Eric Ebron hitting free agency, I think Darren Fells is going to be a bargain. I don't think he's going to cost a whole lot. I'll be surprised if he gets anything over $5 million a year, but like I said, I doubt he'll cost that much. Maybe he can catch a nice one-year deal here in Dallas, just be kind of a bridge gap, because it is rumored as well that Dallas is looking to extend Blake Jarwin at tight end, so you get a guy that can at least be a red zone body for Prescott. And then finally, the last free agent is going to be cornerback Josh Norman. He was recently released not that long ago by the Washington Redskins. Good move on their part. A lot of people did suspect that Norman would stick around because Ron Rivera was coming, but no, that just wasn't going to happen. I could see Norman coming to the Cowboys. It could be like a revenge thing, like, oh, I want to play this team twice a year. They cut me, blah, blah, blah. But Josh Norman actually wouldn't be a bad fit in this defense. They do play a lot of zone, so, he'd be right at home in terms of what he likes to do, which is playing off the ball as a corner, not necessarily being too handsy or physical, just kind of relying on the zone, which isn't a bad thing. That doesn't make you a bad corner. You just have to be instinctive and kind of know what route combinations are coming and that kind of stuff. Norman really hasn't been good since his Panther days, like at that level, kind of like borderline all-pro, but he's still decent. I mean, he's still worth having on the roster. I mean, I think Dallas would sign him because they're going to lose Byron Jones. Let's face it. They're probably going to lose Byron Jones. They have Jadobi Awuzie, who I like. Jordan Lewis isn't too bad either as a nickel corner. Anthony Brown isn't too bad as like cornerback depth. But I think getting Josh Norman wouldn't be a bad idea. Let him be your cornerback number 2. Let Jadobi Awuzie just get the promotion, be the number 1 corner, and then continue to have Jordan Lewis play in the slot where he is most comfortable. So now we look at my first round pick. I am going to be coming out with a mock draft 2.0 about a week after the combine, maybe the following Monday, so like a week and a half. But I have defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw going here. Now, I know a lot of Cowboys fans want a safety or a corner mocked to them, but based on how I have my mock draft 1.0 falling, by the way, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Based on how I had my mock draft 1.0 falling, I had Javon Kinlaw here, and at 17, he's probably the best value you're going to get, to tell you the truth. I mean, he is a freakish athlete, very good at South Carolina, of course. The tape doesn't lie. He's a disruptor. I think if he can develop those pass rushing moves, you're talking about a potentially great interior rusher to pair with DeMarcus Lawrence. And then, of course, Robert Quinn. If he does come back, I mean, you're talking Tristan Hill, who you just drafted in the second round last year, paired with Javon Kinlaw. And then on the edge, you have Robert Quinn and DeMarcus Lawrence. That's a pretty damn good defensive line, if you ask me. So that's a pick that I would like to see as well, if it does happen. Some other positions to address during the draft. Of course, you got defensive back depth. I think they could definitely use some safety depth, get some different guys in there. If Grant Delpit's on the board as well, it's going to be kind of hard to not go with Grant Delpit, but I went with Kinlaw because, like I said, the value to me in terms of talent is just too good with Kinlaw. Offensive line depth, they do have a couple of guys getting older. You wouldn't really think offensive line would be a need for the Cowboys, but it kind of is because they got some guys, battling injuries, getting older. It'd probably be a good time to start thinking about your future as well. Like, we've seen teams like the Packers do this as well, where like they don't need offensive linemen, but they still take a shot in the dart here or there on some offensive linemen. Last year, you know, they didn't necessarily need offensive line, but they still went in the second round and took guard Elton Jenkins, and he was one of the better guards, you know, not only just last year amongst rookies, but in football, to tell you the truth. Defensive line depth, you know, we do have them addressing that here with Kinlaw, but maybe they want to get some guys that can play on the edge as well, guys that could step in and be good depth. And then tight end depth, you know, we have them getting Darren Fells. Blake Jarwin could work on an extension, but maybe bringing in another guy, maybe like a specialist, like a guy you could play in the slot, or maybe just a pure blocker. Like, just getting a specialist in there would be nice for a team like the Dallas Cowboys. So, yeah, that's how I have the offseason going for Dallas. That is my offseason preview. The next team we're going to cover, yes, I'm aware the Dolphins do pick at 18 overall, but that pick is via the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you will be hearing about the Pittsburgh Steelers in the next video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and peace out.